Alrighty, what's up everybody? We got some tractors today. Got these two babies for free. Both Cub Cadets of varying years. This one's like an early 2000s. I don't know what model it is. A 143 maybe? I mean, not a desirable tractor really. I mean, it's a good mowing tractor, but it's not a collectible, I should say. But hopefully it has a good V-twin 14 horsepower. I do like those motors. That'd be good for a project. They're very simple little V-twins. Only a 14 horsepower. I wish it was a little bit bigger. But otherwise, that tractor's gonna get scrapped, I think. I might try and sell it nose clone. But that wasn't the one that really caught my eye. This Cub back here is what actually caught my eye. I don't know what model number it is actually. It's a hydro, which is not as cool to me, but it's pretty good mowing to have a hydro tractor. But Kohler K series, of course. I didn't even check to see what size. I guess probably a 10 or 12 horsepower. Seems to be complete. They said they were having some driveline problems. That's why they had parked it and bought this one. This one developed some wiring issues, so they parked it, bought a new one. This one's apparently not run in 7 years. I asked about this one when the last time they had used it, and the older gentleman just kind of looked off into the sky and said, and then never gave me an answer. So I would assume a good chunk longer than this one. So, like I said, I got them for free. They had listed them on Facebook as scrap. Like I said, this one will probably get scrapped after I pull the motor, as long as the motor's not seized up. The back one, I'd really like to give it a chance, but it's really rough. The deck's got quite a few holes. Tires are all shot, but I think tires would just swap right over between the two. So if I can make one good set out of all the tires, we'll be good. But my main concern there is that carburetor's sitting open and has some rust going on. I mean, we might get lucky and it's not seized up since the carburetor's on the side, but I'm sure it's still got water in it. So I will not be surprised if that Kohler's locked up. But they're very simple motors. I mean, you can pull the flathead, you can pull a head off of it and probably get it unseized. So we're gonna give it a shot, I think. But before I go ahead and unload them, I am gonna go ahead and see if they crank or not. Because if I do scrap them, it'd be really convenient just to take them like this, because loading them is not easy. It took me about 20 minutes at the guy's house. Would not have been able to do it without the crane. He had no way to load it. So just got kind of fancy. I didn't take a video. I didn't have my camera equipment with me, but just ran 2 straps around the axle, ran them up over here, had them kind of slung right over so that the hook or the crane was right above the steering wheel, and then had a longer strap go around both sides of the axle, come up, meet there. And I mean, they went right up there really easily. The hard part was just getting them set up on the toolboxes. I guess that was the only way they were both fitting. So, and they both actually have decks. Like I said, the older one's deck's pretty rough. This one's deck's not bad, but it's off it for some reason. This tractor's really rusty too. But that's enough talking. I'm gonna see if I can climb up onto, trying to think of a witty name to call this, like Mountain Ford or something. I don't know, stupid. I'm gonna try and crawl up on this sketchy death trap and at least see if that one cranks over with the jump pack, and then see what we can do with the other motor. All right, moment of truth here on this one. We got the positive, which doesn't look like a positive cable because I broke that the other day. On the solenoid, we're just gonna tap the ground to the ground. Oh yeah. All right, doesn't spin over fast. I don't know how charged my jump pack is. It's saying it's still got 12 volts, but it spins over. So that's good enough for me to take the time and pull that motor out. Like I said, V-twin. I think it's actually a Kohler motor. I think it's a CH something. I haven't had one of these V-twins, but I've had the single cylinder version and I really loved them. They're just simple, easy to work on. Parts are cheap. Good motors. All right, well, that was the easy one that I had faith in. That one, on the other hand, I got to figure out how to get back there, and then I don't think that starter is probably going to be as happy to be awoken. All right, we got a similar setup here. Got the positive right on the starter, and we're going to ground this out right to that stud there. I did actually just find a surprising thing. It's a 16 horsepower, actually. So this must be a bigger tractor than I thought. I still don't know what model it is. Looks like a 160 something hydro. We'll figure that out if we get it down. That went really well, actually, you know. It's kind of what I wanted to happen. All right, we're gonna give this another shot. The ground just popped. I'm sorry about the filming. This is not an ideal standing place. There's nothing ideal about any of this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that Kohler's gonna run. All right, let's see if we can get these two unloaded before it gets too dark. Slowly running out of daylight here, but I think we'll start with this one. I'm not really too worried about actually getting it running as much as maybe hearing it pop on ether. This one I do want to get running, but I don't think that'll be tonight. Now that it's off of here, let's see if we can see a 165 1650 is what it would be. Hydrostatic. Not super familiar with the hydro versions, so bear with me. Missing the side panels, missing the carb air cleaner. The floor pan I do have right there. They had said they had parked it because something is wrong in that coupling there. Tires are shot, deck's really rough, but it's all there. So this little guy, I still don't know what model it is, but I don't really give a crap. All I care about is this little Kohler. Mild mouse nest, but not too bad. So all we're gonna do here is see if we can figure out ignition power. It does have a key. Wiring looks a little sketchy, so we'll see. We'll see what we can do. All right, when I pulled the dipstick on, it's got plenty of oil to start it. Now, if this is anything like the single-cylinder version of this engine, which I hope it is, they only have a off switch, basically. So you don't have to provide power to the ignition. It automatically does it since it's a mag-type ignition system, which is great for this type of situation. Hi, puppy. So let's go ahead and see if it fires. Well, that was way too easy. Let's see if we can get it to run a second longer. Actually, let me see if I have a fuel tank. We'll just hook up a fuel tank. All right, so I don't have a fuel tank to hook up to it. I took a syringe full of fuel here, pulled off this line to the carb, and just slowly filled it up. So I don't know if that's gonna actually work, but might let it run for a second longer. We'll see. I gave it full choke too to see if that'll help it. Well, my little trick worked, I guess. Sweet, now you know that. So just a syringe worth of fuel, let it run for a second. Maybe it already had fuel in the carb, I don't know. Either way, that fuel's been sitting for 7 years in it if it was. All right, well, that's great. So we have one runner already. I don't really have any appeal to drive this tractor, so tomorrow morning I think I'll go ahead and pull that V-twin out of it. Got a couple project ideas for that, or I might just throw it up for sale. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk on that a little bit at the end of the video. Next up is the 16 horsepower single cylinder, which I think is going to be a little bit more of a handful to get running based on how that carburetor looks and the fact that it's a points ignition system. So we'll go ahead and give it a shot tonight, but I think this might bleed into a tomorrow project. But to start out, it needs a little bit of oil, so I'll top that off. All right, let's get the jump backs rigged up here. We got positive onto the starter there, and then we have a jumper wire to the positive side of the coil. We get the negative sitting right up there. Jeez Louise, place a death trap around here. Let's grab our ether, carbon choke cleaner in this case. I will be extremely impressed if that fires this up. I think we might have lost connection over here. A lot of sparking going on. Let me try to fix that. Yeah, I think at the minimum, this thing's gonna need a points clean. No spark. So, on these, the points are right in here. Two little flathead screws and it comes right out. So let's pull that apart and see what's going on. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. That is one of the dirtiest set of points I've ever seen in my life. I can get my flashlight right up in there. You're not gonna be able to see that, but they're disgusting. So let's go ahead and grab some sandpaper. We'll start cleaning those up. Hopefully that'll be the only thing keeping this thing from getting spark. All right, I ran some sandpaper through the points, and let's give it a shot and see if we got any spark. I don't know if you can see that, but we got very faint spark now. Sorry about the filming. I mean, trying to squeeze through there and hold the camera sucks. So let's try a little more ether. And by a little, I mean a lot. All right, let's see if it'll pop now that we know it's got spark and it's got some ether in it. All right, no popping. It was a very weak spark. I'm gonna contribute part of that to the wiring situation we got going on here. The jump pack's going dead. We only got a jumper wire going to the coil. So I think might be done for the night. bright and early in the morning when I got some coffee in me, we will go ahead and throw a regular battery in it, see if any of the original wiring works. Alrighty, it's the next morning, and as you saw, went ahead and tried to air up some of these tires and push it in here, and it is not a fun thing to push. I don't know how to unlock the hydro trannies on these. I don't even know if you can, but between the front flat tires and the brake is also, I've noticed a lot of things while I've been working on this tractor. A lot of things are really worn out. So the brake linkage is worn out to the point where the rod just falls out, and that's what happened. So I don't know if the brake's stuck on or off, but we got it pushed in the garage here. Went ahead and threw a car battery in it, and we got some cranking action now. So I've just got battery cables hooked there. I got the ignition switch turned on. Who knows if the ignition wiring still functions, but the key switch does not work. Could be because of a safety interlock somewhere, but we're gonna see if we have spark just like this. It'd be really nice if we did. I'm just gonna jump it at the solenoid back here. Maybe. Alright, not seeing anything out of the spark tester. So let's dig into the key wiring, I guess. Or do I want to just hot wire it again? Question of the day. Let me do a little bit of thinking and looking around. Alright, so I got my jumper wire hooked from the positive side of the solenoid down to the positive side of the coil, and I unhooked the original coil wire just so we're not losing any power there. I'm going to check. I guess last time I used my test light, I used it to open up a can of RTV, which is stupid because now it's covered in RTV on the tip. To grind that off. Yeah. So you got power going to the coil. So let's go ahead and hit it with some ether. And see if anything happens. Pull a spark tester out of there. It's a pretty weak looking spark, but might be enough to ignite. Gotta get my battery charger. All right, we got the jump pack, well, the battery charger hooked up. Nothing. Maybe I'll try cleaning the points up a little bit more. See if I can get it to get a stronger spark. Also check and see if they're set right. I don't know. Alright, so I just figured I'd give you a little close-up of cleaning the points here, if possible. So I've got the ignition wire unhooked again, because if not, when they're closed, they'll spark. I like to fold my sandpaper over double. That way you can clean both sides, and I like to do it typically while the points are closed, so you get that pressure hitting on the sandpaper. I'm just going to work it back and forth here until they're clean. Hints of rust on there, like there was some moisture sitting in this engine, which would not surprise me. based on its history. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up the plug as best we can. And we'll go ahead and see if that spark. Alright, well I got that clean, about as clean as it's gonna get, I think. Plug really should be replaced. I don't feel like running to the parts store, so. Alrighty, got that on there. Hook our ignition wire back up. Let's try cranking on it a little. Ah, I forgot the cylinder was open now. Whew. Got blasted in the face with debris. Alright, did have a really hot spark though at the plug, so that's good. So we're getting good spork. Now we just gotta figure out what's going on with the carburetor. Switch sides so you can actually see a little bit of what's going on. I pulled this fitting out. Well, undid it one turn so I could face it towards me. I'm gonna jam this fuel line on here. And then we'll fill the fuel line. That'll give us a little tiny reservoir of fuel in there, I think. Now that carburetor could be completely plugged up and this could be a complete waste of time, but it's worth a shot. Let's turn this. Like that. Hook our ignition wire back up. And let's see if it fires. We're gonna manually choke it. The choke butterfly valve doesn't seem seized up, but all the cableage is, so the easy way to get around that is just to manually choke it. Nothing. Try a little bit of carbon choke cleaner again. Actually, instead, take our syringe. Also to note, I happen to have it, so I figured I'd use it, but I've got 2-stroke fuel going in the syringe into the carburetor. Something I like doing when I'm starting up an engine for the first time in a long time is just using some 2-stroke to make sure everything's getting lubricated. Doesn't hurt anything, that's for sure. All right, we got some fuel sprayed in it. Let's see if it fires. Yeah! Woo! All right, doesn't like the ether, but